Football is back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the NFL is back, should I stand corrected. College football has been underway for 2 weeks, and already there have been shocking upsets with a Power 5 coach, Scott Frost of Nebraska, being fired after a big-time defeat by Georgia Southern. Georgia, the defending national champion, appears to pick up where they left off last season. Their defense looks phenomenal, and their offense doing what they can with what they have, considering a few of their wideouts transferred this past season. While all of that is fine and dandy, this blog is about wideouts. Yes, wideouts, all things pertaining to the wideouts. It's been a few years since I've actually watched a full football game, and as someone who's known as the wideout guru, you would think, how is this so? That the wideout guru has not watched a full football game in over 5 years. After coaching my final year at Modern Day High School in Santa Ana, California, my life took a turn down the spiritual path. That 2017 season wore me thin. I was homeless, living out of Motel 6 in an extended stay America for 3/4 of the season. A year prior, I lost my best friend and never had a chance to fully grieve because I was obtaining my master's degree and was thrust into football camp 3 weeks after the incident. But 5 years removed from coaching and fully healing, I'm back. I have healed and I'm at peace in my life. I had to remove friends and family out of my life who I deemed as losers and get back to the person I always wanted to become. Wideouts as a brand is my life. Next year will mark 10 years since I trademarked Wideouts for Life and Wideouts. Wideouts for Life is the management performance aspect of the business, and Wideout is the clothing merchandise behind the brand. Now let's talk wideouts. According to Jason McCourty of NFL.com, his top 10 wideouts coming into 2022 are Keenan Allen at number 10, A.J. Brown at number 9, Mike Evans at number 8, Deebo Samuel at number 7, Tyreek Hill at number 6, Stephon Diggs at number 5, Jamar Chase at number 4, Justin Jefferson at number 3, Cooper Kupp at number 2, Devontae Adams at number 1. Who complete the list? All 10 of these wideouts have that wow factor in different aspects of their game, and now that week 1 is officially over with the Seahawks escaping victory over the Denver Broncos, I like to analyze their play on the field. I'll start with who I think had the best performance. Stephon Diggs gets my Wideout of the Week award. What the young man was able to do on Thursday night against what most would consider the number 1 corner in Jalen Ramsey was nothing short of incredible. I love how he took the fight to Ramsey and didn't let Ramsey's aggressive nature or active intimidation affect his play. The streak on the right side that Diggs scored on was beautiful despite him falling down in the process. Earlier in the game, he ran a nice slant, which he almost scored on, ending his night with 8 catches on 9 targets for 122 yards and 1 touchdown. From a statistical standpoint, Justin Jefferson had the best day of all the wideouts, catching 9 of 11 targets for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns on a terrible Packer defense. This kid brings many aspects to the game, and with his versatility, I can see why he feels he's the best in the game. Jefferson high points the ball well, gets up the field with a sense of urgency, makes defenders miss on run after catch, and he has a knack for getting into the end zone. I look forward to him winning a few Wideout of the Week awards this season. Devontae Adams picking up where he left off last season on a 10-catch, 140-yard night and touchdown, showing why he's been the game's top wideout the past few seasons. His savvy veteran play had an eager rookie, Asante Samuel Jr., looking foolish at times. Adams had him lost and confused on a few different occasions. The rookie did manage to intercept Derek Carr on an underthrown ball meant for Adams to give him a bright spot for the day. Cooper Kupp, the NFL's current Triple Crown holder, which is to lead all 3 statistical categories, catches, yards, touchdowns, hauled in 145 catches, 1,947 yards, and 16 touchdowns. Doing what he does best, getting open and catching the ball. Cooper led his team and the league this past Thursday with 13 catches on 15 targets for 128 yards and a sweet toe-tapping corner route for his first score of the season. I like what he's doing and how Rams head coach Sean McVay utilizes the uber-talented wideout. Jamar Chase is going to be a problem for years to come. Many of us got to see how special he is last year when he caught that diving go route against Jalen Ramsey during the Super Bowl. While I didn't see any streaks caught against the Steelers, I like that the Bengals have him lining up in the slot. He caught a few outs from the slot and looked pretty natural in and out of his break. Two things worth noting was his explosion up the field once he caught the ball and his physicality in breaking tackles. Can't wait to see how he plays this week against 2021 first team All-Pro defensive back Trayvon Diggs. Maybe I spoke too soon or gave out the award based on the first game I watched, but this next wideout really excited me after watching the back angle of his game against the Detroit Lions. That boy, A.J. Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles, had a monster game. His energy jumps off the screen. Now, I don't know if the Lions' corners are supposed to be good or if any of the guys are top at their positions, but number 24, number 25, number 1, and I think number 20 looked the part and early on played the part. Two of Brown's early targets were batted away by some pretty good defense by those men. But after a tunnel screen and catching one of his many slants in which A.J. Brown broke a few tackles, Brown got in his zone. He used different releases to fake the corner out and caught a beautiful streak after using a speed release up the right side on one of the Lions' defenders. He ended his night with 10 catches on 13 targets and 155 yards. No tubs, but I'm sure next week against the Minnesota Vikings, he'll strike gold in the end zone. Mike Evans had a Mike Evans type of game. You can count on Mike to catch everything thrown in his vicinity, reminiscent of Larry Fitzgerald, one of my all-time favorites. Evans caught 5 balls for 71 yards on a few slant and stop patterns, but he was able to score and did in highlight fashion with a one-hand catch as he was falling backwards out of bounds. He may have gotten away with a slap to the head on his initial release of Trayvon Diggs, but if the ref don't call it, just keep playing. Watching part of the San Diego Chargers game live, I was ecstatic to watch Keenan Allen. Not known for his speed, he was playing fast as well coming off the ball. He caught 4 balls for 66 yards with a chunk of that from a 42-yard over route from a ridiculous throw by Justin Herbert. Unfortunately, his day was cut short with a hamstring injury late in the second quarter. I know Devontae Adams receives tons of credit about his releases, and it is well deserved, but Keenan is not shabby in this category either. His routes are more crisp than Adams, and I'm juiced to see how he continues to tear DB's nuts all year when he releases. This couldn't be a post about the wideouts without mentioning Tyreek Hill. I personally think he's crazy as fuck to suggest that Tua, whom I don't even know his last name, is better than Patrick Mahomes. I understand he said he throws a better ball than his former QB, but anyone who watches football knows that's just smoke. This will be his 5th season as a starter, and he has already won a Super Bowl, league MVP, threw for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards in his first season as a starter, which is more than Tua has for his whole career, 4,737, including week 1 of this season. A feat that has only been achieved by 2 Hall of Famers, Manning and Breeze, and eventually gold jacket wearer Tom Brady. Not counting this past week's game where Mahomes threw 5 touchdowns, he has 151 touchdowns to 37 interceptions. Tua, on the other hand, has 28 touchdowns to 15 interceptions, and with all the short gimmicky passes I saw Miami doing, it appears Hill will have a hard time scoring as he once did in Kansas City. Most sports writers have either Adams or Cup as the best wideouts in the NFL. And while they are good, I think neither is as good as Hill. I'll save that argument for a later post. But ask yourself this: if you had put Cup or Adams in Hill's shoes at any point in Kansas City, could they do what he does? And the answer is fuck no, with a heavy emphasis on the fuck. But Tyreek in LA running those slot patterns, off play actions, and at least half of Cup's tackles are broken by Hill. And as great as Mahomes will end up being, nobody can deny Rodgers' throwing ability. You put Hill in Adams' shoes, and once again, more is happening out of those plays. Tyreek Hill is a playmaker. I just wish he stayed with Mahomes opposed to chasing a few extra million a year that he would have gotten endorsements. Hill finished with 8 catches for 94 yards, and he had to work for everything he got, including a sweet one-hand catch over a kid I used to train in high school, Jack Jones of the New England Patriots. Debo, what a great name. Samuel is last on McCourty's list of top 10 wideouts coming into this 2022 season. With the field conditions as worse could get, Debo'd his way into the end zone on a beastly run. But at wideout, he caught 2 balls on 8 attempts for 14 yards. I have witnessed San Francisco using the eclectic wideout in a gamut of ways. Samuel does change the way coordinators must call the defense, but to stay on this list throughout the season, he's got to get it done on the perimeter for me. After the first quarter of this season, I will give a thorough analysis of my top 10 wideouts. Also, I'll talk about the top performers of the week and not be subject to any other person's list when I'm the Google. But we got to start somewhere. One other thing is I'll try my best to have this weekly blog published on Wideout Wednesdays. I'll get that done because nobody has time for excuses, and I sure as hell don't.